It's time to change how we cover Elon Musk. After a weekend of whoppers about X and fighting Mark Zuckerberg, the press should take a more skeptical approach. Ayy! The melty smiley face in the back. Today, let's talk about the wild weekend of backtracking at the company formerly known as Twitter, and how it should inform the way we cover Elon Musk and his frequent promises in the future. On Sunday, Musk said in a post that on X that the Zuck v. Musk fight will be live streamed on X. He added all proceeds will go to charity for veterans. This all came to a surprise to Mark Zuckerberg. Behind the scenes, the billionaire's team had been negotiating for weeks to nail down the details of the fight. Zuckerberg had proposed a date, August 26, as he would later share on Threads, but Musk begged off, saying he needed more time to train. On Sunday, Musk said that he is lifting weights around the office because he doesn't have time for more formal training. Later that day, he further revealed that he is getting an MRI on Monday for his neck and upper back and may need unspecified surgery before they fight. As a connoisseur of pro wrestling, I'm quite familiar with the character Musk is playing here. The big talker who can't back it up in the ring. Wrestling promoters have made a lot of money with cowardly heel champions who go to great lengths to avoid having to face their adversaries in combat. Feigning injuries is a classic in the genre. In his feud with Zuckerberg, Musk is essentially playing Ric Flair without the charisma. I like that. Were the Musk-Zuckerberg fight a scripted WWE spectacle, we could all sit back and enjoy the show, but these are CEOs of publicly traded companies, and they can move markets with their announcements, such as journalists tend to take them at their word. And while Zuckerberg has lived up to he is dead serious about a fight and has been spending possibly too much time preparing for it, there are few indications that Musk is serious about stepping into the ring. Where to begin? Aside from one training session with podcaster Lex Friedman, there is no evidence Musk is serious about it that hasn't come from his own social media posts. Meanwhile, he keeps introducing complications that make the event less likely to happen, suggesting it should happen in the Roman Colosseum, for example. God damn it. Oh no. Oh, God. Or be streamed on a free and unstable platform that would mean the fight forfeits its exempt or expected bonanza of pay-per-view money for charity. For most of you, I realized, it is no longer news that Musk stretches the truth until it disintegrates. That's a good way to put it. At least since he lied about having funding secured to take Tesla private, it's been clear that we should apply a healthy discount rate to everything he says. So this is what I was kind of alluding to when I read the title that I took issues with. Elon Musk has failed to meet every single promise or projection he has ever made. I do not know of and have not been able to find a single one that has actually been a one-to-one or one that has matched up, right? So I do not... to say that, like, this Twitter or this fight that's supposed to happen between the two of them is like the benchmark. Oh yeah, now we need to be skeptical. Now we need to treat. It is a good example as to why the media shouldn't take him as seriously. But the problem is that media should have been skeptical of him from the get-go and should have continued to be skeptical with him continuously and should have gotten more and more aggressive with every failed promise or attempt at whatever. The boring thing, his stupid boring company / Subway failure, his stupid Starlink shit that went to trash and is incredibly expensive and garbage. everything that he's done with Twitter, the amount that he spent. I recently found out that Elon Musk spent more money on Twitter than the net worth of Batman. Oh, he only bought Twitter because he got caught with his fucking pants down, so that's a whole abject failure. But, like, this is everything that the man is. Tesla was something he acquired, and he's been driving it into the fucking ground, or at least, you know, into hell, where it just catches on fire. So, like, If you want to know more about, like, the issues with some of the electric cars that has been initiated by Tesla, please go to the YouTube channel. There's a video that recently came out about that. Please go check that one out. But I digress. Like, what the thing is like somebody had said to me that the media has made more money and it was more profitable and they got more clicks off of writing positive stories about Elon Musk. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure the technical term for that is grifting. And if your news outlets are fucking grifters, you're in trouble. That's a big old yikes, because it's the media's job to be skeptical. It's the media's job to ask questions, and journalistic integrity entails investigating additional sources to whatever it is that you're talking about, which would inevitably lead to Elon Musk being everything if not a fraud. At the same time, it is in the nature of business journalism to assume that that CEOs of public companies are not lying all the time, I guess. I feel like as a journalist, you should assume that everyone's lying to you all the time after you're done your interview. So unless you're going in with a contentious point, so, like, you're going in to say, like, hey, your company is doing this thing. You don't assume that they're telling the truth when they are like, oh, actually, we're not doing that. You go, okay, but here's this, and this, right? But I would assume, like, if you're doing a pleasant interview where you're just like, hey, I just want to ask you a couple of, like, easier softball-y questions, like, what are you doing about this? What is this? What does this have to do with this? And then take that information, and once you're done that interview, you then search everything to make sure that what they were saying was actually correct, so that way when you publish, you then can pick it apart, right? Like, that was my understanding, but what the fuck do I know? And it's in Musk's nature to make frequent, bold pronouncements about his company's politics and the nature of consciousness, and so on, all of which are irresistible to editors. Stories about these pronouncements are dead simple and cheap to produce. A description of an embedded tweet followed by 300 or so words of context. And because people read these stories in huge numbers, publishers devote a lot of space to them. If there's an Elon Musk tweet that Insider hasn't written a short post about in this year, it's news to me. That's a really good point. I would have less of an issue with them doing that if they actually, like, contended or brought any meat to the, like, dumb statement that Elon Musk said, but because they don't do that, it becomes a serious problem. The issue is that these stories are often published without the skepticism that is appropriate to someone who the Securities and Exchange Commission once forced to pay $20 million for saying something that wasn't true. Judge quashes Elon Musk's attempt to end SCE settlement over Tesla tweets. Elon Musk attempted to terminate a 2018 settlement with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission that requires oversight of some of his Tesla-related tweets has failed. The U.S. District Judge Louis Layman denied Wednesday a motion made by Musk's lawyers to end the 2018 consent decree over allegations that the SEC has misused its launched endless, boundless investigations of Musk's speech and intrudes on his First Amendment right to free speech. Musk's lawyers had also argued that the consent decree was extracted from Musk through the exercise of economic duress. Musk recently brought up this point during a TED conference interview. Who's inviting this man to TED Talks? How dare they? Interview saying that he was forced to agree to the settlement. His ruling is that none of these arguments hold any water. There's nothing more amusing to me when a judge turns around and says, none of these arguments hold any water. I thought about all this over the weekend as I read about one of Musk's other most certainly not true promises, that he will pay the legal bills of anyone who is unfairly treated for posting or liking a post on X. I would love all of the ex-Twitter employees or all those people that had ended up losing their jobs when Elon Musk took over, for them to contact him and get paid for. The announcement came after a NASCAR driver was suspended for liking a meme parodying the death of George Floyd. Ew! Good. Fuck off. Fucking NASCAR. Quote, no limit, Musk added, presumably about the amount he is willing to spend. Please let us know. He doesn't have real money anyway. He owes so much money from the buying Twitter, from all of the fucking legal shit going on. There's so much money. Like, there's no way. I'm not convinced that Elon Musk is actually rich anymore. I think he's pretend rich. Kind of like the way Trump is. Like, he's not really rich. He owes a lot of money to a lot of people. Given that Musk won't even pay his own vendors, it strains credulity that he would file unlimited lawsuits on behalf of anyone fired over what we used to call a tweet. And it's particularly galling, given that, as Platformer reported last November, Musk himself fired Twitter employees for lightly criticizing him in the wake of his takeover of the platform. Oh my god, that person needs to get in contact and be like, give me the money to sue you. That context was missing from Yahoo News' post about the subject. Yeah, that should absolutely be, and that's the thing. This is the journalistic integrity. This is the part that's missing. There's nothing wrong with talking about Elon Musk doing these things, but if you're going to do that without pointing out all of like the plethora of issues and inconsistencies and like problems, you're doing it wrong. It was missing from Reuters too. Bloomberg did better, noting that Musk has often fired his critics. By now, we have countless examples of Musk making an announcement and walking it back. In February, for example, Musk said the company would begin sharing ad revenue with creators today, an announcement that was widely covered after issuing just one payment to a small hand-picked group of creators last month. The company said that it had gotten too many applications and would have to delay the start of payment indefinitely. And even when Musk does deliver, the fine print is sometimes enough to ruin the whole proposition. Last week, for example, the company said that it would make good on a promise to let subscribers to X Premium, formerly Twitter Blue, hide their verification check marks, which have become a badge of dishonor and mockery among the wider user base. Good. But as Ivan Mehta noted at TechCrunch, quoting from the company's help page, hiding in this case is a relative term. Emphasis is mine. Quote, as a subscriber, you can choose to hide your checkmark on your account. The checkmark will be hidden on your profile and posts. Bold. The checkmark may still appear in some places, and some features could still reveal you have an active subscription. And bold, some features may not be available while your checkmark is hidden. The fuck? We will continue to evolve this feature to make it better for you, end quote, the page reads. Given the hold he has on the popular imagination, these Musk Says posts aren't likely to disappear anytime soon. In fact, one generative AI can credibly spit out 300 words of context underneath anything he might say. I imagine we'll see more of them. Oh, AI post for that? That's a whole fucking issue as well. But you notice how there's like a consistency with all the things we've been reading about AI being a problem in media? That's not going to go away for a while. But if, quote, Musk Says posts are going to exist, they ought to be much more skeptical than the ones we've seen lately. For starters, assume that anything he says about a prospective fight with Zuckerberg isn't true unless Zuckerberg or Meta confirm it. I cannot believe Elon Musk is making Mark Zuckerberg look charismatic. Like, I cannot believe this. It is absurd. And about those lawsuits, maybe wait until X covers a single user's legal bills before giving it ink. Yes, oh my god, if we actually did not cover what Elon Musk said, and instead media was covering what Elon Musk did, that would be so much better. Just that little shift to the left. As a business, X, with its stinking ad revenues and dead-end subscription business, continues to decline in relevance, but Musk remains a singular cultural figure actively using his power and influence to shape public debate. Most recently, X sued the nonprofit Center for Countering Digital Hate after it issued a report arguing that the company is failing to remove accounts that post hate speech. As Twitter's ad business erodes, Elon Musk's X Corp sues nonprofit that tracks hate speech. The suit was filed a day after the Center for Countering Digital Hate publicly disclosed a letter sent on July 20th from X threatening legal action. X Corp, the parent company of the platform formerly known as Twitter, has followed through on a threat to sue nonprofit whose research has documented a rise in hate speech on social media service, alleging the organization has, quote, embarked on a scare campaign to drive away advertisers. There was a interview that Elon Musk did with the BBC where they were asking him about hate speech on the Twitter platform after he bought it. Musk's response was essentially, what hate speech? Can you give me an example? I went through that clip of the interview. It's on YouTube. Please go check that out if you're interested. The suit filed in a federal court of California on Tuesday accuses the Center of Countering Digital Hate of violating X terms of service by illegally obtaining the data that was used to conduct its research. CCDH, quote, convinced an unknown third party in violation that third parties' contractual obligations to improperly share login credentials to a secured database that CCDH then accessed and retrieved information from on multiple occasions without authorization, states the complaint. X faults CCDH for companies pausing their advertising spend on the platform. Oh yeah, that's why. It seeks tens of millions of dollars in lost ad revenue in the court order blocking the organization and unnamed partners from accessing licensed material provided by the company for breach of contract, a violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, and international interference with contractual relations. The suit was filed a day after CCDH publicly disclosed a letter sent on July 20th from Alex Spiro, a lawyer representing X threatening legal action over research the organization released last month. Examining posts that contained content that violates Twitter's policies, it found that X fails to act on 99% of hate posted by Twitter Blue subscribers. Holy shit! That's massive! Claiming that the company is allowing them to break rules with impunity and is even algorithmically boosting their toxic tweets. Musk was blamed for the alleged rise in hate speech on the platform alongside companies that continue to advertise on X. In a statement, CCDH CEO Irman Ahmed said Musk is, quote, showing he will stop at nothing to silence anyone who criticizes him for his own decisions and actions. The nonprofit research, quote, shows that hate speech and disinformation is spreading like wildfire on the platform under Musk's ownership, and this lawsuit is a direct attempt to silence those efforts. Ahmed said, quote, people don't want to see or be associated with hate, anti-Semitism, and the dangerous content that we see proliferating on X. That's fair. Instead of taking aim at the allegedly biased and flawed research, X argues that CCDH engages in a series of unlawful acts to secure the data. Okay, but all right, even if they did, right? Hear me out. Even if they did and the lawsuit stands, and even if it goes through and like they did illegally obtain the data and they do lose, the data is the data, right? So like even if they obtained it on through illegal channels, which I doubt, but even if they did, it still means that there is a rise in hate speech on Twitter and that it's still a problem, Right? So even if X were to win this lawsuit, it changes nothing. The problem would still exist because the data is the data, whether they obtained it legally or not. So there is no hate speech in Bossing Say. Yeah. Yes. After the issue reporting arguing that the company is failing to remove accounts that post hate speech, before Musk, the person is setting the day's news agenda on Twitter was Donald Trump. As it became clear during his first campaign that Trump mostly did not tell the truth, the press corps gradually brought more scrutiny to the candidate's statements. We've talked about the media being really, really problematic in its coverage of Trump. Again, go subscribe to the YouTube, and you can go find those VODs and those videos over there. Go look at my video about Anderson Cooper. In some cases, cable networks stopped carrying his public appearances live since they could not be fact-checked effectively in real time. Musk's broken promises have yet to reach anything near the volume of lies that Trump had told as president, but given his recent track record, it's well past time for the press to grant him an equal measure of skepticism. This was a great article. Good job, Verge. Who was the author of this? I'm going to go follow them. They did great. Casey Newton. Good job, Casey Newton. This is a wonderful article. This was fantastically written. I absolutely agree with them. I would actually even... my only criticism that I would give to this author is I would have pushed this further. I would have been far more aggressive, as you've heard here. I am far more aggressive about stuff like this. It's been long since overdue. It should have happened after the first failure. It should have... This is still being nice as far as I'm concerned.